Hey everybody, welcome back to Dungeon Maker here on the World of Madness server. So, I've got a bunch more work done, as that tunnel right there presumably shows. So, this now leads to the bulk, I would say, not the full, but the bulk at least of work of getting this tunnel section completed. It does still need a lot of decor, and of course it also needs insulating from the ocean that's outside. I might take a look at that in a moment. But it happily leads up to here, and this part is decorated because that part's actually the other side of the wall on the top floor, or at least the mid floor. We still haven't worked out how many floors there are to the Tomb of Tukar, but suffice to say, it's a few. And we go up here. Now, up here, much as we had we have it blocked up over there for skeletons to like wander down at their leisure and harass people, this is going to be Baby Zombies Central. So with that in mind, we did design the tap, I suppose we call it, the tap filter in the preceding episode, but I at least have done a bit more. I don't know how much work you've done. I at least have done a bit more work refining that particular concept, and like you might wonder why coincidentally it would seem all of these corridors are locked off, whereas all of the sanctuary zones are perfectly fine, and it is genuinely just that I can use these really, really effectively as like an in-between space, a liminal space, if you will, to stick various mechanisms and mob spawning shenanigans, so I can make sure that they get to the places they're supposed to be on either side. Because that, I feel, is at least a much more efficient means of utilizing the space, and also I can't really present very much of a threat if you can just run in a straight line. And ooh, iron. Still in need of iron. Cool. Not going to say no to iron yet, and let's just stick some cobble there, because this does actually get built on top of. There we go. Phew. But yes, so the main trouble for people down here is that it's dark and they don't know where the exit is. The exit is actually going to be here, but right now, if I just... yeah, it's water. It's water all the way down, as it were. So, don't need to worry about out here for the time being. Let me just stick brightness on so you guys can actually see that a bit better. Flump. There we go. Ugh. So yes, there we have it. Wow, that lighting really goes far, doesn't it? So that is currently what we have. You can see my problem now is just like getting everything out into the ocean, more or less. I don't know exactly how you explain this lore-wise, but we have long since exited the ocean, and we now have a fairly long section here that is not liable to hit the ground for a while. I guess, get up there. I guess once I get this section here done, which is the next sanctuary that you get into, then I can dig down further and maybe I'll start to graze the seabed a bit more. But oh boy, is it going to be a pain. Oops, speaking of pains. Eek. But nonetheless, we shall persevere. We'll get that done. So let's hop on over to my test build and I can show you the new and improved version of the tap filter. Catch you in a mo. Right, welcome back to my increasingly messy test build. So, here we have our tap, our new and improved tap. So, the problem was that with mob collisions active, which they are now at least, the baby zombies and the big zombies, the adult zombies, and all sorts of other variants would just smash into one another over and over again, and it would prevent them from going down. So, as a way of reducing the instance of that, we have extended out the actual filtration section, this slab that keeps the adult zombies on one side and the child zombies on the other, giving them a lot more time to slip through. There is, in cases of extremely high zombie flow, still the odd escapee that ends up down here where they shouldn't, but no adults ever end up down here. So this would be the section that we filter towards that level of the dungeon. And I need to remember to have a few blocks on the staircase down so that the zombies can't filter back up into the sanctuary, because that would be bad. But anyways, let's give this a run. So that is a lot of zombies. We can see we've highlighted one of the babies there, and he's already out. And all the adults are just filtering in there. We only got the one baby, but we shouldn't see any adults going in there whatsoever. And I could spread this out to be a 2 wide so that they filter out even faster, but it's not really necessary because anything on this side is not what we're interested in anyway, so it'll eventually go down there. And this is a lot faster rates than I should expect for the actual, like, zombie spawner kind of setup. And let's see if we can, well, first let's reset. Plump. Goodbye, baby zombie. Chunk. Okay, we've got 3 in there now. They're all grouped together on this side, and they're all going to end up in exactly the right place. We can put some water with some slime blocks or something down there just to make sure that they don't take damage. We can leave some... We can occasionally spit out a piece of armor or equipment there that might make them a bit nastier, like an iron sword or something. Or just an enchanted stone sword, really. Maybe an enchanted wooden sword. Because either way, they're going to be a pain. These guys are predominantly painful when you're actually trying to fight them because their hitbox is actually fairly decent and reasonable compared to the actual zombies. So they run really quickly, and their legs move faster than they actually walk. And then they've got these very tight hitboxes, so it's very, very easy, especially when you're panicking, to spam click them and do little damage, or to miss completely and have them run up and punch you in the knees. But yeah, that is that. And if you're interested, the way the system is working is that I am setting all the zombies to silent, which is why we're not hearing anything, even though we can hear the water above us. I am then adding the child tag to any zombie that has isBaby1. Zombies that are adults don't actually spawn with this tag at all, so if you do isBaby0b, you'll pick up nothing, as I discovered. But that's just picking up all zombies within a radius of 20 blocks from basically that bottom part there, giving that child tag, and then we are killing any that are over here that don't have that tag, which is why they die so quickly. And then we just make the children glow, and this is just constantly trying to spawn zombies of varying sorts. No data tags means that we get a full breadth of them. I think it's somewhere in the region of 1 in 10 or so that become actual children, but it's not a huge, massive concern. Let me just test out giving this a wider filter. Okay, over here, and there. Yep, and there's a little bit of a problem, because I need to stick a sign or something there to stop the water flow, but this is purely just an experiment. Let's put that a block up. There we go. So now they should filter out a bit faster. But yes, only baby zombies can go this far over, so consequently only baby zombies end up in the only exit out from there. Very nice. Oh, and there's still a block up here. There you go. Die rapidly, fellows. Also, they're catching fire because I've got the stained glass open to the sky. That's probably not going to be an issue with the actual eventual implementation of this, so we don't need to worry too much about this. In either way, they only actually get shoved up to here when it's high flow, and high flow would require either a very effective mob spawner or a lot of triggered, or activated, I should say. I'm kind of going off the word triggered these days with how much it's misused. A high number of activated zombie spawners. So, that is how that works. Yep. No worries at all there. So, yeah, as I say, I've seen like 1 or 2 baby zombies end up in the adult section, as it were, with this system. And that's only if you leave this. You pretty much just have to leave this on to get so many baby zombies here that the system just can't filter them out fast enough. And even then, it's doing pretty dang well, it has to be said. So, it's not a massive concern. Look at that, every single baby zombie tagged and highlighted, so consequently we see every single baby zombie is right here where it should be. Nice, or where they should be. And as also we see here that, yeah, they're getting filtered across there, so it's fine. This is handy, but not required, ultimately. And we will probably just dump them onto cactus That way I don't have to deal with their drops and such. I could stick them onto like a death drop and just pick up their drops with hoppers, but I don't need rotten flesh that much. Even if I did filter out the rotten flesh and just only took the items, like their actual equipment drops, it's not ultimately worth it. Like, it'd be nice, maybe I can filter them to some other part. Maybe I can use them to load the minion section for the first boss or something. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But the next thing we need to address is just how I'm going to get zombies. Because there is a zombie spawner somewhere nearby, but it is under the tomb and quite distant from it. I have a skeleton spawner, actually, that's a lot closer. That's actually rather conveniently close to the trap room on the first level, I think it is. But we don't actually have a zombie spawner nearby. Now, what you'll see on screen now is an animated GIF of a system that Monkey was playing with a little while ago, because we had a system to get custom spawners back, or at least mob spawners back where we liked them before, but it kind of got broken by the updates to command blocks. So, that is a system that Monkey threw together recently. Now, as you can see, you just fill a dispenser, I think it is, with some, with just a skull of an appropriate mob, in this case creepers. You add a little bit of bars and whatnot to it, and a hopper, and it then turns into the appropriate spawner when the appropriate mob walks over it, just sort of like instilling its soul into the device. Now, that is a pretty good system, but I do wonder about the acquisition of the skulls. That's a little bit trickier. Now, I am not in charge of the command blocks of World of Madness. That is, I believe, pretty much entirely Monkey's job these days. But if you happen to have some ideas as to how else we could do this, then leave them in the comments, and I'm just going to tinker with an idea myself, right here. So, one of the things that Minecraft already does is that you can cure zombies. And that is by virtue of right-clicking them with a golden apple after they have been given the weakness debuff. So, if we do something similar to that, I think we can almost alchemically convert a zombie. So what we're going to do, first up and foremost, is we're going to summon a zombie who happens to have the capacity to pick up items. And I'm also going to give him an unbreakable helmet because eep. So that would be armor items. I'm so glad I fixed my controls, because otherwise I would be cutting off my recording every single time I hit right curly bracket there. So that should be iron helmet, tag, unbreakable one. Did I miss a bracket here or something? Eh. Right, that's going to bug me. What is up with you? Come on, tell me. Can pick up loot. 1B. Oh, you're just not picking up this. There we go. Okay. Has a bit of a delay. Probably because he actually, like, has to wait for the item to be picked up. Right. Hopefully I've cut out the time of that, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Heal. Right. So, if I give you... No? Come on. Come on. Be reasonable, sir. Be reasonable. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So, he can now pick up items. So, with that, we now just set up a repeating block, which we'll just set to redstone active, because why not? And we want to test for @e type equals zombie. And we want it to be hand items. And let me see, it goes into his right hand, I think, is the first one. So ID iron bars. Also, the fact that you aren't saying a dang thing is getting a little creepy. So let's deal with that. Come on. Tell you what I am going to do is I'm going to put no AI on you, so you don't wander off. There we go. Better. Huh. It's getting way too quiet in this headspace. I find that happens a lot to me, honestly. Okay, so... what are we missing? Do we want Minecraft iron bars? Is that what you're asking me? Bingo! Found it. Okay, so that allows us to identify a zombie, or at least anything that can hold an item, that has that particular item in its offhand. So, scoreboard players tag at E, add, let's look at spawner potential, shall we? So, we now have the tag of spawner potential on that thing. So, let's add a little particle effect so that we can make sure that's actually happening, and that's going to be wanting to be at E tag equals spawner potential. Okay, particle flame is always a good indicator, I find. There, and we'll say 0, 0, 0, 0, and 20. So, we can now see that he's highlighted a little bit. Let's make that a little bit higher. 2.5. Okay, so now our potential spawner zombie has our lovely little... Can I just put you, like, one there? So you're on the ground, at least. Good. And he's not dropping stuff, because that's just what's set up on this world, that's fine. Okay, so, no particles. Give him the iron bars. Particles. Lovely. So, we've now identified him, so if we test to see if he is above a certain block... Now, we could make this block be whatever we like. We could have it be some stone bricks, we could have it be some mossy stone bricks, or we could have it just be mossy cobble, we could have it be a sea lantern, we could have it be a beacon, anything you like, basically. In this case, we are going to go for a beacon, I think. So, execute at E tag equals spawn potential, and detect one block beneath you is beacon of any data value, which is -1, and then we shall add scoreboard players tag at E tag equals spawn potential R equals 1, which should just mean them, basically, always. Add spawn create. So currently doesn't have anything to indicate that, but we're going to just add a new one. Oop, that is not right. Okay, and we're just gonna have that be a block above. I want that to be spawn create, or spawner create, was it? I can't remember. My memory's terrible. Spawn create, there we go. And that wants to be spawner potential, not spawn potential. This is why you have fairly succinct things as your metric. Okay, so get rid of you. And we put a beacon down here. Whoop, that didn't work out quite well, did it? Let's stick you a block up. There we go. Okay. And we give you another iron bar. I have all sorts of junk in my inventory on this world. Okay, so you got that. Now, what's happening here? Spawn create added. Okay. Spawn create. Wow, I did it right in one place and wrong in another. Okay. So let's just do that from scratch again so we can see it happen. Make sure it's working. This is the kind of stuff I go through a lot on Spring Realms, just by the by. I just have to make sure every single step works, and it still manages to break somehow. Okay, there we go. So, when that happens, we execute at E tag equals spawn create type equals, in this case, zombie. Set block right beneath us to be, I think it's monster spawner, and let's see, spawn type, I think, or spawn ID. It's the values for spawners are kind of witchcraft. We'll just set it as 0 for now. So spawn type will have as being zombie. I think that's right. I don't know. And then we will also get rid of spawn create. which will almost certainly work. Yep. Okay, so, is it mob spawner? Perhaps? I don't know. Yeah. Slash give at p mob. Mob spawner, there we go. Not monster. The autocomplete on things like this is very helpful. Okay, let's stick you just right above it. Okay, so we've got our regular dudes, and then we give him the iron bars. There we go. So he's got one little flame to tell us his potential. And there we go. So with that, we have another system for creating a spawner. Now this does have the downside that you can't make witch spawners, you can't make spider spawners, you can't make basically creeper spawners. Anything that can't hold an item would pretty much just limits you to skeletons and zombies and such of various kinds. That, I think, though, is a pretty decent way of doing it. Obviously, you need to make sure it's not just pig spawners all the live long day, but nonetheless. So let me know in the comments. I might toy around with a few other ideas for how you can trigger that. And I hope you've enjoyed, and I shall catch you all next time.